Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Utility Board public meeting for March 18th, 2025 to order at 6:42 p.m. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Julie Rivera. Here. Chuck Becker.
Here.
Greg Parker.
Here.
Mary Jo Dixon.
Here.
Richard Teal.
Here.
Nick Cupido is absent. I am Jennifer Sandberg tonight. Jeff Bungie.
Present.
Benjamin Eldridge.
Here.
David Austin.
Present. All right, thank you. New business, item 1, approval of minutes from January 21st, 2025 and February 18th, 2025. Any questions? If none, entertain a motion.
So moved.
To accept.
I'll second.
Robert Carnahan.
Writing just a second. Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Chuck Becker.
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Richard Teal.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 2, approval to authorize signatures for either town council president or the utility board president for the phase 2 of the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor project. Neil, I don't know if we need any discussion on this other than we're going to be needing to have some signatures and stuff for all the bids and stuff that are going to be going on. And
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, not right now. Thank you.
All right, guess motion.
So moved.
Which one? Utility,
Either or is what it is, Bob. That way, if Nick is around, he can sign as town council president. If they need it signed, or if I'm around for utility board president, then I would sign it.
okay.
So, motion by Mr. Parker, second
I'll second it.
by Ms. Dixon. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Chuck Becker.
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Richard Teal.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 3, written report, fund report, clerk treasurer.
Jen sent out all of the reports on Friday. If there are any questions about anything, she will be back on this upcoming Friday.
Thank you. Item number 4, consultant staff report. Engineering, sanitary updates, Nice.
Yes, Mr. President, for the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Project 1, that project is now complete. The as-bills have been forwarded to utility board staff and also to IDEM, consistent with our permit. Project 2, we will be awarding, or recommendation for award at the May meeting. We will be opening the Friday before your May meeting, and then the Lake County and the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan permits will need to be signed, and I got the Lake County one just from you just yet this evening, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll forward that over to Dwayne Alverson at the Highway Department, who we're coordinating with on that utility occupation permit, because these areas are unincorporated or adjacent to, and he's going to provide those to the commissioners for their recommendation and consideration to approve. Any questions?
No.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Neil. Moving on to item 2 for water update, Christopher Burke. Mr. Baldwin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Rich, would you like to merge this with East Side water discussion later on in the meeting? Since there's lots of things going on, how would you like to do this?
Well, I guess just to keep it all consistent, if you'd like it to go all at the same time, we can. Either that or just move up the East Side water discussion at this time and, move it up together right now.
Sure, whichever you like.
Yeah, I think we'll do that.
Just do them both.
Yep, we'll do them both right now.
Sounds good. I'll start with East Side water system. Currently, the East Side bypass road has been completed and the Robins S booster pumps have been installed and in current operation, which means that the Crystal Oaks elevated tower is now online and has been tested to be pumped all the way up to the top of the tank, so it has been full and has been tested multiple times to do that since Friday of last week. So currently, what is happening is kind of in a transition mode right now, is that the system is in a manual operation, but it is operating as it is designed at the moment. So pressure should be back to normal status on the east side. Currently, what's happening right now is that because the booster pumps and well pumps and the elevated tank are now all online, what's happening is that the water department has commenced its appropriate disinfection testing of the system, and that'll take a few days' time to make sure that everything is back in order before the boil advisory can be lifted. So that testing has commenced today, and it'll be on the water superintendent to give more updates onto that later this week. So that's, seeing as the wells have been on bypass mode for 8-9 days' time, is a rare occurrence that was able to do well this whole time, to keep pressures up and this boil advisory status. Any questions before I keep going?
Before you continue, I would like to have anybody that's in the audience have the opportunity to speak on this here, and maybe he can answer their questions.
Would we think that would be better suited after, when we get the public comment, or what's everyone's
I would like
thoughts
to do
on
it
that?
now.
Sure. Is there any questions?
You're good with that now, Kevin?
Yeah, we can do questions. I've got a few more bullet points on it.
Come up and state your name and address one at a time.
Okay, here we go. My name is Molly Garza. I live at 6411 West 96th Avenue. I'm sorry, West 128th Avenue. I guess my question is, I don't believe that there was any advance notice about this. And so that my question about that is, why wasn't there? I have a family of 6. I'm a stay-at-home homeschooling mom who doesn't leave her house very often for multiple days. So I didn't know about this boil order until my neighbor let me know a few days after it had already started. So I know it was kind of a cover your rear type of order, but I still wouldn't like to be feeding that water to my children and my dogs. And then past that, I had to spend like $80 at a laundromat just for a few days of laundry because of our large family that I could have prepped for. I could have had a friend. So why weren't we given any warning about this, or were we and I missed it? Because I didn't hear any.
Does anybody have an answer?
I mean, there was a rave announcement made. I believe it was put on our social media accounts. As far as the timing of when they went on, that I'm not sure of to give as far as to add credence to your observation of not having any notice. But there were a number of avenues taken. Now, I understand, you know, not everybody does social media and is on a program as far as getting the notifications through, you know, your cell phone. But I guess that's all I've got as far as an explanation on that point.
Well, I know that on Monday I was leaving my house by luck, and my neighbor called me to let me know that her husband had called the water company to find out why the water pressure was so extremely awful, because on a regular basis, the water pressure in our neighborhood is awful. It's great now, I'll give you all that, it's flowing, but it was a mistake. I feel like that could have been, I mean, we got a call about getting no sprinklers for the summer just a couple days ago, but I didn't get a call, like a roll, whatever they're called, like a...
Rave text message,
yes,
call.
I didn't get anything, a call or a text message about that, so Especially, my main question and concern is that we got no advance notice, and it cost us a lot of money as well. You know, I know there are other people here as well.
And I hope we are learning a lesson from this. I'm very sorry that this happened, and it totally bothered me. I'm totally upset over it.
I tried to go on your guys' Facebook and put a request in. I tried multiple times, and they still haven't responded. And I was gonna try to put it out there, because I did the same thing, Robin's Nest and Lakeside.
Okay.
And,
could
because
definitely
I
do
found
that.
out Thursday night,
Okay.
they were doing this, and then Friday, we had signs made up, and I put signs in both entrances of Crystal Oaks, one Robin's Nest, and one Lakeside.
They're like this big stuff.
Right, I mean, they're just a regular sign.
I know. Well, we have like 9 million children in our neighborhood. When I'm coming in, I'm like making sure I'm not doing the speed limit, I'm not running nobody over, I'm not, you know, that little tiny sign.
Ma'am, are you signed up with Rave?
The texting?
Yeah.
Yes,
the-
I am.
the town, okay.
Yes.
Did I hear correctly that your pressures are now back to order? Is that correct?
Yep, good job. Thank you.
Yeah, and just for clarity also, the irrigation ban is just gonna be on the west side. It kinda got out there prematurely on that Friday.
Did you hear that?
I did make a phone call to the water superintendent. He did get that changed last Friday on the website, actually, just to reflect west side only on the irrigation ban. And then I think it went out yesterday on Rave and whatever else it was on, so just so we're aware that irrigation is west side only.
I mean, but a call got out to everybody.
Right.
Yes,
To people who it's not even supposed to get to, so
Oh,
why
yeah.
didn't I get a call if I was supposed to?
correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other one that wants to speak? Come on up.
I think I'm at the wrong meeting. I thought I was coming to the 7 o'clock town council meeting,
That'll be next.
That'll be next.
but I am very concerned about the water.
All right, you can talk about the water, then on the east side?
No,
Oh, west side?
yeah.
Okay, we'll get up and speak about that. He's gonna talk about that in a minute.
Well, I'm really here to just, finding out that this is a shame.
We
And
do need your name and address
Oh,
for
I'm
the record,
sorry,
please.
Margaret Marriage, 11727 West 124th Place, Cedar Lake. The little bit I know about all of this is that this has been an issue for several years in Cedar Lake, that we do not have the capacity for the amount of people. And I guess my question is, how does something like that happen? And were funds misappropriated? And if they are, what are we doing about it? Because I would hope it doesn't fall back in the taxpayers' pockets. Are we filing criminal charges? Are we correcting the problem from other funds? I guess that's my question. What are we doing about the water shortage? And who's gonna pay the price?
Well, I can answer some of that as far as, when this, council started last year, in February, we enacted
With
the...
prior members from previous councils.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go on what is being done.
Okay.
February last year, we,
Kevin wants
Sorry to interrupt.
Kevin wants to talk.
I think it might help everyone if I go through the bullet points that I have, that I certainly have some of the answers that.
Okay.
So.
And that's at this meeting right
Yes.
now?
That's at
Okay.
this meeting, and we'll talk about it in just a second.
Thank you.
Sorry, Rich, for interrupting.
Thank you.
okay.
I think just talking about what plans are and what's going on with that, and hopefully I can cover that in one fell swoop, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Back to the east side. So what essentially has changed, just for everyone that's in the room, what happened was that Robin's Nest booster pumps, the original operations of how the system was operating was to try and keep a downstream pressure from the pump station. What has currently happened is now the system operation has changed to utilize the existing elevated storage tank that's on Colfax in Crystal Oaks. What now is able to happen is the booster pumps are able to fill that reservoir up in the air to be able to have enough pressure and enough reservoir to be able to house more than a day's usage in that tank to do that. So that will help with a few things. It'll help with pressure regulation, it'll help with fire flows, it'll help with a few things that is different than what the original system had. To be able to do this transfer and this transition we are currently in right now, to be in this bypass mode, it is a very rare occurrence that we were able to keep it in a boil advisory to at least have pressures like it was instead of no water at all. So I want to be very clear that this was discussed in multitude with IDEM and with the Indiana State to make sure that we were trying to do this efficiently and quickly to make sure that we can do this. And now, that's why I ask if the pressures are back to what they are. I just wanted to check on that because right now, how things are currently as of last Friday is now in a normal operation, be able to have pressures and get fire flows to large buildings such as the pool that's on Fairbanks. To be able to do that, that's had to happen to make this switch up. So a lot of Robin's Nest is certainly one of the few the starting down of these large system improvements, not only on the east side, but on the west side, to be able to help with the ever-expanding expansion that's happening through your town. So a couple last minute things for east is that there's final punch list items for the contractor to make sure the connectivity of the controls that are in between the water tower and the pump station to make sure that those are turning it into a more automated process. Right now, the water superintendent and the water department is operating the water system on the east side manually for the time being until we are up in operation in a couple weeks' time. So with that said, it's starting to learn how the system is reacting to the tower and how the pressures are going. So this will be still a transition period while we're getting all the appropriate disinfection tests. The other thing that was on east on my list was, I think, the 133rd water main project between Fairbanks and Robin's Nest is still in design. So 90%, this will add a second leg and second redundancy in between the tower and Robin's Nest pump station. Risk and resiliency of the east side. Rich, anything else that I missed for Robin's Nest piece? I'm going to talk about Paradise Cove and West.
No, I think that's it on that.
I've got one question, Kevin. Bob Carnahan. When we end up sending the water from Paradise Cove or Lighthouse, whatever you want to call it, and send it down 141st, and it goes down to the south end of Lakeside, how is this going to increase pressure? Will pressure be sufficient with all that running through all that system?
Pressure will stay the same on the east side. What will increase, though, when we do the connection to the WPM or the White House or the Paradise Cove well, is that we will have then an increase in production rates for the east side, which will help on being able to keep up with high demands and being able to produce more and giving the wells at Robin's Nest the rest to be able to feed into the system and to be able to fill up to the tower for that piece. So pressure-wise, how things are currently at the moment, now that the tank is filled, that will be your normal pressure operation. So the tank is the lifeline for the east side, which is now online. So the pressures have increased in the north and the Crystal Oaks areas. They're in the middle 45 to 50 psi, and further south on Robin's Nest towards more than 50 psi range. So to segue into that, the Paradise Cove piece is also in the longer range plan of the master plan to try and connect in through Lakeside, north and south. The IDEM permit has been issued to start work on the interim condition to bring in the upgrades for disinfection and for the hydrostatic tank to help with the current operations for anything that's on Moore Street right now. So that's currently in equipment and material procurement, and starting to get that up and running. So the permit was issued on Wednesday, 3/12, so 6 days ago, so we're 6 days in. There's a normal process with IDEM before we start these large projects to have a 10-day notice. So we still have a handful of days until we're official to get going. And the water department has started to, again, get materials going, get contractors lined up, and have coordination with IDEM to get that going.
So, Bob, to answer your question, what is currently happening right now is that because the tank is online and active, pressures are in their normal operating pressures. They're actually a slightly increased than the original before the project started. They're probably boosted up about 3 to 5 psi more than what was originally happening now that the tank is online. What has exceedingly, what's happened and is now much more prominent is that everyone's fire flow that's coming from the fire hydrants is now directly correlated with the elevated tank on the east side. So now that we have the tank, we have a much larger increase in fire flow capacity for larger fires or for larger buildings to be able to take on that kind of service to do that.
I just wanted to be clear with that.
And Don Oliphant had told me that we got a total of 4 wells now for this system, which Paradise Cove, Lighthouse, whatever you want to call it. He told me one was 259 feet deep and the other one was 275 feet deep. I don't know what the depths are of the two in Robin's Nest.
Similar in fact, a little deeper at the 10 levels, but yes, that is the idea, is that when Robin's Nest and Paradise Cove are connected, that helps with our firm capacity that is able to feed into the system. When we have not 2 wells on one system, but 4, that helps the convection rates to be able to feed the rest of the developments for Lakeside North, South, and for wherever the Lawton development comes into play. That is of the master plan, of the master sequencing of building out the east.
And MacArthur Elementary School has been on a fire watch for going on 2 years, and now is this ready to stop it now, or do we have to wait a little while?
When everything is passed with disinfection, everything's blessed by the IDEM folks, then that fire watch would then be lifted after all of those things are certified.
All right, thank you. That's all I've got for right now.
Sounds good. The last thing I have for Paradise Cove is that I have started the ultimate condition design and have shown a couple of iterations to the water department and Tim to get some criteria and requirement ideas to then have a better draft and exhibit to display for the utility board when we finish that up. Anything else?
I'm just going to say for the audience, in case they don't understand what IDEM means, that means the Indiana Department of Environmental Management.
Sorry about that. That's the state version of the EPA for health and drinking water.
I just do that because not everybody understands acronyms.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, were you going to talk about the west side and the irrigation?
Yes,
Van?
west side, not specifically after the irrigation discussion, it's much more onto what is the idea and
Current status of proposed improvements.
to go onto the west side. Excuse me. Currently, what's being added into my master plan exhibits is proposed sites of more water storage and more well locations. What that means is to help with the production rate and more capacity onto the west side. There is a fine line of making sure of the sequencing of how these very large pieces of equipment to the water system are placed in strategic locations. And the water modeling that we have a computer simulated water model of the town of both the east and west side, we are able to plug in these particular locations that have been talked about from the board and from the water department to assess
the most efficient location of trying to put a new tank, trying to put new wells in the site, in the area, and start doing estimated costs of where these locations are going. So that's what's going to be added into the master plan now that, since we've talked last, that these locations have been added to my list. And why I bring this up is that I'll have separate exhibits of each of these locations discussed, so that we can show the cost analysis, we can show the pros and cons of each of these locations to try.
The west side.
There's a whole bunch of capital improvements that's involved with that, with extended water mains of locations on the west side to make sure that there is multiple redundancies and a larger, I'll call it a skeleton network, or a larger spine network of larger mains to make sure that they are looped appropriately so that it helps with fire flows, it helps with pressure mitigation around if there ever is a major event, or if there are larger demands that are happening on the system.
One thing about, I was told that an email was delivered to somebody here in the town hall in 2022. That we didn't have enough water in town. And I did not see that letter until 2024.
Was it water or capacity and production storage wells?
Both. Please both. So I've come on, as of last year, of trying to put all the pieces together to have a long-range plan, master plan. Transparency with IDEM and with the departments to be able to be very frank with them.
You're breaking up.
Sorry, it'll keep going this way. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
What has transpired since that particular letter is our transparency with IDEM and the multiple discussions that have ensued to work with them on how we would be able to fiscally, responsibly do this sequencing of adding very large and very expensive equipment into the water system and to try and do this appropriately. So what's going on is that we have been pretty much been on speed dial with IDEM while this has been starting up to work on the appropriate scenarios and options that the town has so that we'd all try and do this in an appropriate fashion and to make the sequencing correct so that we don't go backwards at this point.
Any other questions, Julie?
Anything else, Kevin?
Listen.
I didn't hear.
Yes, should be done.
Okay, thank you.
I wonder if that lady has a question still. The last one, do you have any other questions? You want to come up again?
Well, I'm hearing...
You gotta come up here, please.
Sorry. I'm hearing that there is, very costly expenditures, capital investments that are needed. Again, I have to go back to that. I think this was a problem that they've been aware of, and certainly when they allowed developers and builders to come in, that those concerns had to be addressed. And so do we have the money to fix the problem?
Well,
Are we gonna get the problem fixed?
Right, and what I was gonna say earlier was, in February last year, we adopted the developmental moratorium on building on anything over an acre. We knew there was a problem with water way before we got the letter from IDEM. So,
2017, I hear.
no, I'm saying from last year, this council enacted that.
But part of this council is the same council.
I agree, but,
So people knew.
yeah.
I did not know.
You did not know in 2018 that there was gonna be a water problem?
No, I did not.
So we gave these developers...
I was told everything was fine, and don't worry about it.
Who were you told by?
By the previous council. This council is showing me paperwork now that I never saw before.
Okay, well, you know, pointing the finger, I guess it's just that, gosh, you can't hit on the taxpayers again. We already have a Cedar Lake referendum.
Right.
And
With the schools. Also, I wanted to say, you know, these subdivisions going back to 2010, they're approved by the Plan Commission first. I've never been on the Plan Commission. A lot of town council members haven't been. Right.
We gotta work in the same interest.
And I would prefer that the infrastructure be put partially on the backs of the developers and not on the taxpayers.
And why was it that?
And that's what we've worked on, and some developers have given some concessions, but now with the moratorium, we're kind of regrouping, and I'm hoping that as we add some development back, they will pay for infrastructure because they'd be happy to do so to get their building. It's a give and take.
Can I have a rumor maybe clarified for me?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna say maybe it
Go
was
ahead.
a rumor. That money was misappropriated to use to dredge the lake.
Not
which-
misappropriated, actually, someone went to the State Board of Accounts with that complaint. The State Board of Accounts cleared us. We let this go by legals. There was money that was allowable. It would have been caught, and there would have been repercussions legally if it was misappropriated.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
But we did use money to dredge.
Bottom
some other
line
funds.
is, get out of Dodge unless you wanna pay really high taxes. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? Because I don't see any way around this.
I'm thinking and hoping we'll do everything we can for the taxpayers not to have to pay into this and to work with
I mean, it's a terrible stain on the town.
a give and take with the developers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm probably not gonna get any more answers if I stay for the 7 o'clock meeting.
I mean, you might, and just to let you know, like, we're all working on this diligently and constantly.
Yeah, it's a kind of life or death matter.
And this town council has opened and let public come out and talk
I know, and I appreciate
more
it.
than any other council I've ever served on.
When
And
did this meeting start? Was I supposed to know it started at 6?
We start the utility board meeting at 6:30, which that refers to water and sewer and stuff like
I
that.
see.
And then the town council meeting starts at 7 o'clock,
I
but it'll be
appreciate that.
after 7.
Okay, I'm done. Thank
Thank you.
you very much.
Thank you.
You got a gentleman coming up there?
Well, are we gonna wait for public comment now, because we still gotta get through Director of Operations and everything else, or?
All right, we'll wait. Kevin, you're gonna stay on, right?
I am still here, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, item B, Director of Operations, Superintendent.
Kevin pretty much covered everything that's been going on, and we had a couple little hiccups with getting the Robin's Nest, conversion done. I mean, the old pumps, once we started taking them out, were concreted into the floor. That had to be jackhammered out, caused a couple extra days of delay. One of the wells, pitless adapters started leaking during this whole process, so pump went out. I mean, it's been quite a lot going on. Everything is moving forward well, but also apologize for the extra couple days of it took to get it online and get it working, but as of now, everything is going according to plan, pretty as well as we could expect. So I don't know how the notifications, I know it's been pretty well notified in these meetings that this was happening, but as far as notifying everybody, all the water customers, you know, what could have been done better, don't really know, but that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Tim. Town Attorney.
No report.
All right, item number 5, recommendation of the new utility permit application for right-of-way use and road boring. Mr. Conley, were you gonna take this one?
I think I am.
That's what I thought, okay.
All right. So what we have noticed is we've got some projects that are coming into the right-of-way in this area. And a need that we have as far as the
the drawings themselves and what is in the right-of-way and where the locations are in proximity in the right-of-way, those files we're going to need. And so we're gonna institute, a more of a permit for right-of-way use. We're suggesting this. And also, the items that you see in red, if you look at this document was provided to us by, Christopher Burke, and Don Oliphant gave this to us. So we took the format of it, and the items in red are the items that we're adding to it, the needs that we have as the town going forward with locating the utilities in the right-of-way. Now, again, we could always ask, NIPSCO's probably not gonna participate into this because, from what I understand, there's, a lot of their work is, very sensitive work, and, they have certain protections, that they have to be observed, so. But again, a lot of the other utilities are coming in here, and we just wanna make sure that we have a boilerplate for something that they can follow. Like you'll notice, the exact criteria of how to replace an asphalt road and how to replace a concrete road. These things are spelled out. One of the things we wanted to do is to have a permit and fee structure, and we're just building that up right now, because we learned previously that fiber optics and communications that go into the town, the state of Indiana has basically put a ceiling on that at $55. But we would think that the normal permit fee would be around $100, and then whatever the associated fees would be. But we're just getting this document in front of everyone so that they can look at it, pick it apart, tear it apart. We actually own the format to it, so we could change it however we think is best for Cedar Lake.
So the road cut is $250?
I think it's $275, I was going by memory, Bob.
Okay.
But we'll make those adjustments accordingly before we send it to the planning commission.
Okay. And I would assume that's gonna be the proper chain, it would be plan commission and then recommendation to council?
Yes.
Public hearing first.
Public hearing first? Thanks,
Yeah.
Dave. All right, anything else?
That's pretty much it.
The bond,
Oh, well, and one of the things on there, as you'll see, is putting a bond in place. Tim and I were talking about it before, and instead of putting a dollar amount on the work that's proposed, because inflation could kick in and then that would screw up the dollar amount, as it does in other areas, we put a limit on the work, and we said 1 town a block. If it exceeds that, then that should be a trip trigger to the plan commission to assess a bond if it's necessary, so.
Okay. All right, any discussion on that at this time, or? All right. Moving on to old business, item 1, update discussion, Lake County, JICA for East Side Water Development, $650,000. I think this was just a carryover from the last meeting, I don't think we have anything.
Explain what that JICA is.
Jennifer could explain that a lot better than I can, and she's not here. I don't know if you can, Sarah?
Joint intergovernmental,
Joint interlocal cooperation agreement, Title 36 statute provision.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. So nothing on that right now. Item B, change of language on ordinance for irrigation ban. So when we did this irrigation ban, it's supposed to be town manager and water superintendent. Somehow the language did not get switched from the and or, so it definitely needs to be both. So this is going to be direction, I believe it would be to your office, Dave, or would that be in clerk treasurer just to make that?
It'd be us, and we address it as a scrivener's error.
Okay, and so no voting on that, so it would just be to include and. So that way there's 2 people making that call. East Side, Kevin already spoke about that. J-Mob report, I know Mary Jo and I don't have anything at this time. Jeff, did you get a hold of Mr. Hendricks as far as setting up that meeting with the committee that, as far as discussion, what we're doing moving forward?
I have not talked to him personally. I hope to have something worked out this week, and you'll all be notified as soon as we can make that happen.
All right, thank you. Moving on to public comment for utility board.
You got your hands full. It looks like we're gonna have to be working together on all this project for this water sprinkler thing. Bob Grosek, 14055 Theodore Street. The reason, is this, and this question, I guess, is for Kevin, is this gonna be a year-long ban?
Not sure that's officially for me, but that's much more to the water department.
Well, because the directors of these, the things that take care of our land, they wanna know, are they going to be starting up the sprinkler systems? And when it comes to cutting grass, and when it comes to, the HOA directors need a letter, so they don't have this work done. Same thing, shutting it off, that's all, there's a lot more steps than just turning a valve on and turning it off. So is that something that we can get as a letter, not to start up?
So I know there was discussion with the water department, with Tim Kubiak, with Director of Operations on this, with their concern with the amount of people that were gonna be coming in, companies that were gonna be turning the sprinklers on and getting things ready, that, we needed to get this taken care of sooner than later, so the HOAs and other places didn't start spending the money already. So what can we do? Tim, do you have any suggestions on that, with what type of letter, who would get them, as far as the...
I mean, I guess that was the whole point of trying to get this information out sooner than later, so that way, that it would be known there was gonna be an irrigation ban, and that not to,
Well, I talked to our HOA director, and she had no clue about this, and I said, I'll see if I can get something.
Right, I mean, we would hope by getting that
Over a letter, not just taking it from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be able to communicate with them for that, just so we don't run into the...
I mean, it's not only mine, I'm sure it's others too.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, I don't know how we put, I know we do that rate, we put all that stuff out on these websites and that stuff, and it seems like it gets to 25% of the people, so.
Right.
I don't know, I don't foresee us, I guess, I mean, we can send a letter to all the West Side water customers, and I mean, I guess you would hope if there's an irrigation ban that would trigger not to turn on your irrigation system and therefore have to turn it back off. And that was kind of the whole point of trying to get this out early, because once you energize it, then you gotta pay to blow it out and you don't get to use it, so that doesn't make any sense.
Putting fertilizer down, do they put it down or not?
What about sending it in the newsletter?
I think they're gonna, directors wanna know more.
No, I mean for us to send it.
Well, they'll need a lot more than that as well, because not
Or
everybody
send it
gets
with
that.
the bill, utility bill.
Does the town have a list of the HOA presidents, vice presidents, anything? Do we have that? No.
I had gotten some information from a couple of the guys in the water department. I don't know how inclusive it is or complete it is, but I know that we have been working with some HOAs to let them know that about the ban, and if they want to get a hold of their contractors as far as, now obviously, Bob, maybe they don't have a contact
Sure,
person
so
for you
I'll
guys.
email them tomorrow morning and have them call your office, correct?
That would be fine.
Okay,
We
perfect.
can,
No, I
we
mean,
can
just so
get
they
that,
can,
we can get that moved over too.
perfect,
Or
thank
send
you.
it forward.
That's all it is.
Hey, Bob,
Can we,
you have a management company running your HOA now? Not yet?
No,
Okay.
Farland is still running ours.
So McFarland doesn't know yet, huh?
She didn't know anything about it.
All right.
Jeff, can we create a list and make sure that every subdivision on the west side is contacted, whether it be president, vice president, secretary of your board, so that they're all contacted?
Well, and I'd like to add that we also need to include Ben and Jeff in this process.
Oh, yes.
Since it was, Ben's first day yesterday,
No one to put
so
you
just for clear for the record.
Great. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so Bob, I also know that you did call me earlier in the week, and one of the other questions was clarity on the irrigation ban, that this was a lawn irrigation ban, just so everybody knows that if you have a garden, it does not apply to that. You know, so we're talking, you know, when you have a yard that you're sprinkling, it's gonna be a lot more water consumption
Sure, sure.
than you taking care of your garden. So I had that talk with Ryan as well, so this is lawn
Yeah,
irrigation.
that would go far also.
Yeah, just so everybody's clear.
Okay, thanks a bunch, thank you.
Thank you.
Is it okay if I stand here because of my arthritis?
Yes, Ms. Kerr.
Not loud. Carol Kerr, 9900 West 129th Place, Cedar Lake. Well, Cedar Lake, what am I saying? Okay. I'm on the west side in Monastery Woods. Don't laugh, cousin. I'm on the west side, and I think this whole thing is ridiculous. I think it's, we have a God-given right for water, and we're not supposed to water our lawns all summer. Our HOA changed our covenant book last year, that if anything dies, and I have a half lot with 4 trees that I didn't put on there, McFarland did, if that dies, that's on me. If the sod dies, that's on me. If any of the evergreens die, that's on me and all the other homeowners. I do not understand, and I would like to know who okayed the Oak Brook down the road from me being built. Which one of you said that's okay to build that? All those homes in there. Those homes started $550,000, over $500,000. And you mean to tell me some young couple saving up their dough, or some doctor probably moving in there, can't water his lawn? Have you notified Schilling Builders? Have you notified McFarland Builders? That when they put their sod down this summer, it's gonna die? You gotta water sod.
So in the irrigation ban, I can answer that question. I believe it's 4 to 5 weeks maximum on a new lawn. So those developments that would be like Oak Brook or somebody else that's on our public utility water system, they can only water for 5 weeks on a new sodded lawn.
So they can water, but we can't.
That's how it is in the ordinance. That's correct.
Well, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, like, who's gonna pay for my evergreens when they die? Who's gonna pay for my trees, 5 trees on my property when they die? I called the town manager and he said, well, maybe it'll rain. You know, and really when that man's talking, Kevin Baldwin, sounds like a smart man, but I feel like I'm in an algebra class again, and it's way over my head, because I don't understand anything any engineer's talking about. But again, I say to you, it's our God-given right that we have water, and you're taking it away. And everybody's acting like, oh, well, tra-la. It's not tra-la if everything dies and you have to pay for it on a fixed income, or even if you're not. When we bought these homes, we thought we'd have underground sprinklers. We're not, right? I mean, why do we even have them? So could you answer that? Why? And who okayed Oak Brook to be built then?
In Oak Brook, I don't remember when that actually...
Last summer.
No, it starts a lot longer than that, and I don't remember the date on when it came to a first plan commission as concept and when it got approved. But stuff like that, it doesn't just happen overnight for a subdivision to go in. That could have possibly been 2-3 years. I don't know, do you guys...
16, 17, I'd say.
2016 or 17, when the original plan started getting approved for that. So it takes a while for those things to get all planned and...
Well, then who okayed that we have this? Our town manager, and there was somebody else's name?
As far as what?
Who okayed it?
That goes through plan commission.
Because we got a phone call, and, you know, you people that work, you know we get these phone calls, but you're not there to answer them. But you get about 10 a day from anywhere selling you a back brace to, you know, an Advantage plan. And if you don't answer, they just keep calling more and more and more. And so we got a phone call, and most of my neighbors and I thought it was a crank call. Because I think it was about a week ago, and there was snow on the ground, and it said something about watering your lawn outside. And I thought, you know, hang up. My other neighbor didn't even pick it up. So that's how we got notified. Because like that gentleman said, you have to turn on these, you know, the water in my garage. I have it for 3 houses. Some of the newer homes have one in each house. I have for 3. And when you think about, too, the liability, I mean, I think our fire chief does a phenomenal job. I have no complaint for him. But when you put pumps down in that east side and west side, wow. I mean, and we have fire hydrants, and you're going to hook up to the fire hydrant and there's no water in it? Like, how do we stand on our side with that?
Well, and I believe that's what Kevin was talking about with our exploration with water on the west side. We need more capacity. We eventually do need more production. And I don't know if you want to chime in on that, Kevin, on where we're looking at with that, but it's...
Sure, yeah. So
back up a little bit. I know the statement was saying that these discussions sounded like we're just trying to push it off. Is not the case, and the tra-la-la idea of this is not the case. This is a very serious discussion on how to use utility that you have for this. And you were bringing up the fire department. That's certainly one of the major reasons of why the irrigation ban was even discussed about it. Rather have the means to have the appropriate fire hydrants, fire flows for the fire department to do their job if there is an event of an emergency to happen compared to watering grass. So that's certainly, and I can tell you of how, when I started to be on talking with the board, that they have taken the appropriate measures to think that far in advance to make sure that the emergency situation, and by no means of any of what we're talking about right now is trying to restrict your normal usage of water for this. And so that's why trying to see if we can get through the summertime without the use of watering your lawn. Again, like how Rich was saying, watering your grass, or watering your gardens and watering your trees to be able to do what is necessary for that. That's why it turned into a serious discussion for the west side to make sure that at this time, to make sure that everyone is getting the appropriate water for their normal usage, for drinking, for showering, for laundry, for the fire department to make sure that the system is working appropriately.
Well, if you were gonna sell a house in Cedar Lake right now, would you buy it? Because I would feel obligated to tell the person buying my home, you can't water the grass. And on that side, maybe the pumps will bust again. I mean, really? When you buy a house, you assume everything's gonna be okay. You don't have to choose between putting a fire out in your house and, you know, being able to water your lawn. My house taxes, the taxes, online, the Lake County Treasurer isn't up, but if you call, they'll tell you your taxes. Mine went up $500. I would, you know, and the assessed value of the house went up. I understand that, and you could debate it by trying to find 3 houses that sold for less. You're not gonna find that when in Oak Brook, you're gonna pay over $500,000 for not a real house that you walk by and go, wow, I love that. Okay, they're nice, but I don't go like, ooh, you know, that's so super for over $500,000. So my point here is, why aren't you building another tower right now? I mean, the 2 senior people on the board, they didn't know that? You didn't know that? Everybody blames the other board, but you 2 were on the board, right?
I was on the board, I was never on the plan commission, but I was on the board, I was never on the plan commission, but from what we knew then, I had no reason to question subdivisions that went up because people bought them, they bought the land, it was plotted for that.
I think it would be like a common sense thing that I even thought about. I thought, wow, they're building all around here, because I asked the farmer down the street what he thought, would the well run dry, and he's like, no, honey, the well won't run dry here. And I thought, you know, even I thought that, and I'm not an engineer, but I'm just saying, again, this Oak Brook, there was somebody who approved that, should not have done that, and I just think it's unfair to the people there. So the people there who already have a lawn, they're not going to water theirs?
As far as the people, like, who have irrigation systems or just regular sprinklers, you're saying? I mean,
they moved
this
in
is,
a year ago.
anybody that's on a municipal water system on the west side is what this irrigation ban is for.
So they won't be able to water their $500,000 house?
If it is a brand-new sod...
It's not brand new, say it's a year old.
Then no, they will not.
Okay, will I be able to water my trees? Is that considered a garden?
That's a good question.
Or will I be able to water the $2,000 I paid for the side of my house where I put a sidewalk in, and that's on me? I mean, my sprinklers don't even reach that, so I always watered it, and I know if they die, that's on me, I agreed to that. But like I said, our homeowners association, everybody checks.
I understand it.
It dies.
If I could ask the fire chief, Easter, was it last year? The fire on the northwest side out in unincorporated, or was that the year prior?
Easter week. Yeah, last year, last year, I'm sorry.
And Ms. Kerr, you live in Monastery North. I know about the amount of complaints that happened on that day. From the 18 18 trucks it took to put the house out. It burnt to the ground. Burnt to the ground.
You're talking about, like, I complained?
No. I'm saying all, residents that had something to say about their water, residents that had guests over on that day.
So what you're saying, the analogy is if we complain that the house fire wasn't put out, then we're sacrificing
But what
water.
Mister, what I'm saying about the complaints though is the people that were saying, it looks like there's blood water in the toilet, guests roll over. Well, it was because of the amount of drawdown that we did from the hydrants to put this house fire out. That's the reason for the irrigation ban, because God forbid we have another house burned down, it's gonna be the same situation.
So I don't understand that analogy. So we should just shut up because we need the water to put out fires? Is that what you're saying?
I think, Carol, the concept behind it is to make sure that the town system is always capable of being able to react immediately to a fire
Shouldn't that just be
situation.
taken for granted?
So, what, no.
Isn't that an average thing for a town? I mean,
Just please let me finish.
okay.
Okay? And with the development, there needs to be upgrades to the system. And at this point in time, the east side system is being upgraded. And the west side, the council and the plan commission are working with developers to try to increase that capacity. So there is a period of time to where there is gonna be an issue with the water system when it comes to fire protection. But what happens with irrigating all the time is you keep the fire suppression storage at a low all the time, in which if there is a reaction to a fire by opening up fire hydrants, there isn't the capacity there that we need at the time. So the council, the town, everybody that's working together is trying to upgrade these systems right now. And the sprinkler ban's not gonna be on forever.
We were getting weekly warnings.
Right, it's gonna.
What's the pressure go down to when you get the warnings over there, Tim?
35?
Yeah, I mean, last year it got down to 23 a couple times, 26. 20 is boil advisory. So, and again, I think that a good way of saying it is just that, we've calculated the amount of water for every new house in town, and the water is there. The thing that really blindsided us is the irrigation systems that are on all of these new houses. I mean, we never, I don't think anybody ever took into account the mass amount of water that this takes at 6 a.m. in the morning, or, these are all set. We tried last year to get HOAs to change up their times. Beacon Point worked really well with changing, but essentially in the mornings, that water tower is like you chopped a hole in the bottom of it and it just, it's gone, so it's just, we went through all last year with low water alarms, and we just can't in good faith keep doing that, because if there's one hiccup, you don't have water to take a shower or
Then are
flush
you
your
in the
toilet.
process right now if my taxes went up, yours went up too? Are you in the process of using to get some of that money, and why aren't you building another, whatever you have to build?
And that's what the
Why
master
aren't we
plan
digging
is.
right now, why aren't we?
The master plan that's being done is determining what are the right moves to make with that expansion, so we can not just knee-jerk reaction. We gotta make sure that we're doing the right thing for
And
everybody.
if my 5 trees die and say I've got 10 evergreens, is the town gonna pay for them, and my sod?
I lived in the country for my whole life and never watered a tree or a grass, and it's very
That's
alive.
unpredictable, because you never know what the
I
weather's
mean,
gonna do.
I would agree with you, but I agree that it may look a little browner, but I do not think, if it's a new tree or a new grass, but I don't think anything's gonna die.
So you're saying.
Kevin, I would like you to explain the master plan that we are looking into, drilling more wells and, putting up possibly another tower.
Yes, what had,
We can't hear you.
yes, the idea of the master plan is exactly what Tim was talking about, is using the east side as an example of the appropriate sequencing steps to make sure that the appropriate funds, and to work with IDEM, to work with the state revolving funds, if that ever comes about for these large projects, to make sure that the sequencing is done correctly and to not, take all of the funds out of the utility budget right away, to try and do this in a really fashion. It is why we're trying to get everything onto the table to not only be accounting for the foundation that is currently happening right now, but to make sure that there's 2 or 3 times the amount of average day demand that is happening on the west side, but also be mindful of expansions that would potentially happen on the west for known developments that we have. If it's going to expand further to the west, 41, for the amount of water mains to be put in and fire hydrants to be put in to make sure that everything is covered for their fire flows, especially around the schools and larger buildings. Everything is being accounted for, and trying to just get a sense of where things stand now and what the potential development and future is of the water system to the west side.
Now, Sherrville has Lake Michigan water, why can't we? And it was explained to
Because
me
we're not in the district.
Okay, wait, it was explaining about the water table and this or that. Well, those laws can all be changed, and someone out in the lobby here was telling me that they tried doing that and you had to have every town okay it, and one town did it, Lowell or something did it. But if you did, you could change that.
I will tell you that,
it could be
I will
changed.
tell you of discussions of the designs that I have worked on for bringing Lake Michigan water to Illinois communities in the area, that is a very large sum of money compared to the upgrades that we are talking about right now.
I paid $35 a month, and I lived 20 years in Highland. When I moved here, it was $100 for one person a month I paid for well water, and I had Lake Michigan water for $35. I talked to my neighbors occasionally, it went up to $40. Hammond sells the water. Hammond's mayor is a phenomenal man. He pays for seniors' taxes if they're on disability. I couldn't believe it. I had to call because I thought someone's lying. He'll pay for 4 years of college for people, and he can do it with the gambling vote money, so I understand that. And the deal is, though, he sells his water, because he has the plant there, to, Highland, Sherrville, all of it, but he doesn't gouge people. He does it at a fair price, and he's a wonderful guy. I don't care what politician he was, I tell my brother, always vote for him, because he really cares about people. And like I said, when mine was 35 the first year I moved here from Highland, and then I come here and it was 100 and some, and I was being charged for water I didn't even use. And I complained, and I think other people complained, and then they made it, the bill was a little smaller, and then the water amount was less, but they were charging me out for 20,000, 2,000 gallons, some crazy thing over what I used. So that was like ridiculous. So then the water company did look into that. But if a law could be changed, why don't we do that? Maybe it's time we need water from Lake Michigan.
That, as Mr. Baldwin said, the cost for that versus the alternative for us to do our own wells and stuff is way cheaper.
What is the cost for that?
Mr. Baldwin, do you have any estimate?
Ben would like to say something.
Not sure of dollar amount.
Yeah.
I can't.
And look, 15 to 20 miles to try and do that, so I'm not sure on dollar amounts, but that's certainly, we've certainly done alternate source analysis pieces for this. That's not really officially what I'm tasked with right now, but it's, right now, of trying to do that quickly would not be responsible to try and do that right now, because of the timeline to try and make that happen, to try and have a appropriation of your allocation, trying to bring that amount of water to come from the lake. Like, there are a lot of moving pieces with that discussion to have in order before you even start to put anything in the ground. That's multiple years. The last time I've worked with trying to change over a community from wells to Lake Michigan was a 5-year process. And they originally had a 35-year governmental agreement on how they were getting their wells and their river water beforehand, before they changed over to Lake Michigan water. It is a very long and arduous task to try and do that.
Right.
Sherville did it in, Eilenberg, changed the filters, they have all these filters, to be changed, and he told me when his, the technician, his St. John water went down one time, and they made an announcement, and he had Lake Michigan water.
Our new town manager would like to talk.
I can't speak intelligently about the cost of bringing water from Lake Michigan to Cedar Lake, but we're 45 minutes over our time on this meeting, and we really need to keep going. But I just wanted to say that what was done in the past, we can't change, but moving forward, I mean, we have a new council, moving forward, we're addressing all these issues that may have been overlooked in the past.
But that doesn't help us right now.
It does not help you right now,
No.
but my concern as a town manager, and I would hope that, and this might, I don't mean this to sound crass or whatever, but my concern is the young woman behind you spoke earlier who has young children at home, making sure that they have clean, pristine, potable drinking water. I'm more concerned about your health, everybody's health in here, than I am about pine trees, or your grass. And I don't mean that to be mean or insensitive, but it's just, we can't change the past, but we can change the future, and that's what we're trying to do. And we're just kind of, I think we're just kind of spinning our wheels here. Hammond, let me give you another example of the community I came from, in Millersburg. We're a population of 1,000. We're next door to the city of Goshen, who's a population of 60,000. Our utilities, we had to do the exact same testing as the city of Goshen. We had to have the exact same treatment as the city of Goshen. But we were a population of 1,000, so the cost of those treatments, the cost of their utility bills are higher than the utility bills in Goshen because they have a tax base of 50,000 people. We have a tax base of 1,000. But the state of Indiana says we both have to do the same testing, have the same testing requirements. That, Hammond, the bill might have been cheaper having lake water, but they're closer to Lake Michigan than we are, and they have a larger tax base to spread that burden over than Cedar Lake does. So, as far as the cost for your water here versus another community, it's not comparing apples to apples because we have different population sizes. And while we all have to do the same treatment and provide the same quality of water to everybody, we have, 18,000? And I'm not sure how many Hammond has, but I'm sure they're a bit larger than we are. So,
120.
Okay, what's that?
Hammond's about 120.
120,000 people to spread that burden on. So we're not comparing apples to apples there.
All right, we're gonna move on to the gentleman in the black shirt now.
This guy back here wanted to...
He did, but I noticed that the gentleman with the black shirt first, and then he can go after that.
All right.
If you wanna come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record.
Can I just say my area, Robin's Nest? Is that fine?
You gotta have your name and address for the record.
13425 Cardinal Lane, Robin's Nest.
Your name?
Damian Morales. I had a question for Tim.
Yep.
You guys said you guys did calculations based on the amount of water used. Is that publicly available, or can that be sent to the citizens of Cedar Lake?
How many gallons per day?
Correct.
Yeah.
That could be. And I'm also just kind of curious, I joined in a little late. Is the irrigation ban, or at least for Robin's Nest specific, is that going to be, I guess, continuing?
That's for the west side of the lake, not this side.
Yep.
So then, does that mean the boiling water treatment, is that gonna go away within this week by chance?
The last I spoke with Ryan, he didn't wanna put a date on it. It all depends on what comes back with the testing that they just did.
Testing, okay, and then again, I joined late, I'm unfamiliar, but was there gonna be a credit to Robin's Nest since the construction went longer or past its initial date?
From what I understand, no, and I don't know if you want to chime in on that, Sue, but I did have some discussion with her as well as others.
She's our financial advisor.
Oh, we can't hear you, Sue.
Mute, Sue, unmute.
Are we muted or?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Sue.
Okay, sorry, it was on a different mark. What we have to worry about on that is we are a regulated utility. That means we are regulated by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. And when we make an adjustment in rates or anything, we have to do it in a fair and equitable manner. I'm not sure how, I've never done it before in my 30-plus years of experience of working in utility rates and charges. I've asked our regulatory attorney to give me some guidance on that because I haven't heard of it done. And to give just a blanket refund, especially with the ban on the irrigation, which we will stand to lose about $425,000 of revenue, we're between a rock and a hard place right now in trying to determine that. But I am investigating it because I do not have an answer for you as to how I would determine it, what the amount would be, who would get it, because Eastside is a separate system from the website. They're segregated systems, they're not interconnected. So I don't have an answer on that, and I am investigating it to try and figure out how we could do it in a fair and equitable way, if we could do it.
Just to build on that then, from my perspective, since construction went past their allotted time, is it not fair to just push the cost onto them? Since, again, whoever was doing this upgrade, they either mismanaged the resources or they didn't account for enough obstacles to implement the system.
Well, my understanding is we, the town, are the general contractor of it. So the general town is the water utility, which I'm not sure how we would go about doing that, because if we don't have the rates and charges and we don't generate the revenues to pay our existing debt, then by default, we're in default on our debt, and we would have to go back in front of the commission, the IURC, Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and we would have to ask for an increase in rates. Because all of our projects and everything like that are paid through the rates that we charge and collect from our utility customers.
And then for Rich, quick question. For any resources regarding the project, can that be sent to the Cedar Lake citizens? Like calculations, progress?
Like the public records request, or is what you're...
Essentially project updates based on the systems being implemented, west side, east side, just so then, at least for me, I have a peace of mind of where we're at. And again, if construction is mismanaging the resources, I'd like to know that, so then coming here, I'm more prepared.
Right, and Tim, I don't know if you'd be able to answer this. How does the normal notifications go out on certain projects and stuff like that in the area? Is that, like, if it's water, it goes out from Ryan, if it's a sewer related, goes out from Tony Perez, or how?
Each person sends their stuff to Cliff, and then Cliff gets
Through
it
our,
out.
Cliff is with our IT department, so,
Is there like...
And it goes to the website?
yeah.
I mean, just to circle back, that's what my concern was too. How did we not get this update? I don't understand that. In preparation for it. It would have taken a lot of slack off of our back if I could have prepared for it a little bit. Because I don't understand how a whole group message can go out, and then you guys say like, well, we don't know how it didn't go out. That's something that should be answered or explained,
Again, just to build off that, I don't know everyone's time here, because everyone's valuable here, but if possible, we can collect names or something, get a list going for personal contacts. I think that'd be helpful, just for general populace. Again, I would like to know project updates, because if this is going to affect me, I would like to prepare, just best case scenario. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morales.
Hi, Pete Swick, 12385 Lagoon Avenue. My wife and I moved here a little under a year and a half ago now. Looked up Cedar Lake. We actually came from St. John. Looked up Cedar Lake, looked like a nice town. Never thought about looking at water, because public water is provided to you as part of your government funds. And now we come to find out that we're low on water, we've got issues with water. It's a major concern for us that we're considering moving now out of this town. Couple things I need to understand, I couldn't find it on the website. What defines the east and the west side? Is it a straight line? Is
Klein Avenue.
Klein Avenue, just a straight line down Klein Avenue, is east and west?
Right down the middle.
Okay, that's one of the questions I had. I do understand the ban of the lawn because my subdivision, I'm not in the cottage home, but the cottage home's there. I go for walks, and when the sprinklers are running, they're running constantly. There's water running off the sidewalks, into the streets, down the curbs, right into the sewers. So there's a lot of your wasted water right there. So I get this ban, and I fully understand it. Question for Kevin, do we have the land for the new wells approved, or do we already own that land? Or are we gonna have to go through approvals through the state, buy this land, and it's more money to the residents of the town?
Sorry, for the east side or the west side?
Any side, I'm here for everybody. But I'm on the west side, but I'm here for everybody.
That's the side we're looking at.
Okay, the west side.
Yeah, yes. So the quick answer for east side, again, what was talked about before is that the reason to try and interconnect Paradise Cove and Robin's Nest is to essentially double the production to help with the east side. That's the quick answer for the east side. The answer for the west side, there is a lot of land that is town-owned that we have on our radar for looking for well production and for an elevated tank location onto it, trying to see if that is a top priority of a location to do. And then there are other options that will be included into the overall idea, trying to look at all options of what we can do and what would be most beneficial and most efficient.
Okay, that's good.
The answer is yes and no. Some is town-owned land, and some is not. It's working with the developer to try and see if we can have a strategic location for some of these large pieces of equipment. That's why we're in discussions about that now. So yes, we're looking at all options right now.
Secondary question to that, how long will it take to put these new wells online? Are we talking years from now?
Tim, I may defer you on what Ortman is, what's the typical timeline in town?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a well, I mean, it just depends on, there's a lot of factors into everything. I mean, I guess a good thing is that our capacity of our water compared to our daily usage in the current situation without irrigation is good. I mean, we are not, running out of water for daily usage. We are not, but in the summer, when everybody turns on irrigation, we are struggling. So that is the point of the irrigation ban. That is the point. I mean, we have places to try to drill test wells and add wells, but with that well comes a pump station, chemical treatment, and then getting it into the water main. So, like, depending where it is, where the electricity is, the magnitude of the building, and, getting it into the system just all depends on the location of where the water is found. So a water tower takes about, a year to build, so 8 months, so people have just seen it happen.
But we're just in the planning phase, so we're talking more than a year then.
For the west side.
For the west side, yes.
Kevin, let him know what the time frame is to get, possibly wells. We gotta pick a location, it's gotta be approved by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and tests have to be made, and it would take a year or two to get a water tower, another one put over there on the west side. Am I wrong or right?
You are correct. Yeah, definitely with that time frame is legitimate for a elevated storage tank for, especially how the steel market is going right now and how, the design process that's involved with the structural stamps that are going for the concrete and for the steel. There's a lot of process that's 6 to 8 months of design phase, and then it's 4 to 6 months of installation and fabrication, and then the testing and bringing it online. So yes, your range of a year to 2 years is realistic.
Okay.
Thank you for that. So Tim, you said with the irrigation ban, we're not gonna run out of water, is that correct?
Correct.
Because I've read things, don't quote me on the percentages, but I think the west side is at 92% capacity for that west side well, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the east side's over capacity. I don't know if anybody can verify if that's true or not.
That's absolutely.
Or close?
Nope.
No, okay.
With, like Tim had said, if you take out the irrigation spike numbers, we are at less than 24% of any given time on west side capacity.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. And this isn't water related, but it is kind of related. I understand our sanitation goes through Lowell, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And I understand there's also issues with that Lowell is at capacity for the sanitation, for which we are going through to them. Is there a plan for that?
They're not at capacity yet.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but
We're talking about water today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about sanitation.
there is a planned expansion.
Right.
There is, yes.
Once we reach 90% capacity, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management will order an order to us that we've reached our capacity, and then we have to do something right then and there.
So the state is watching us right now, correct?
Yes.
Well, they're advising us. I wouldn't say watch. Watch is a bad word. We work with the state quite well together.
Well, I would hope them paying state taxes also, that I would hope they would be watching a town that's not doing something properly also.
Okay, well, again.
They're making sure we dot our i's and cross our t's right now.
Perfect, that's all I wanted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Kevin Toth, 9725B West 129th Place. I just wanted to correct something that was stated earlier. I'm the person that sent all this stuff to the State Board of Accounts about the wastewater funds and how they were used, so if everybody wants to know, it was me, okay? And if you can look, I'm the one that asked for an audit of the reports and stuff that went on. And in the audit report of December of 2023, the State Board of Accounts said that utility funds should not have been used in the manner that they were used when the utility funds were taken for the lake, for the dredging. And I got the reports. If anybody wants to see them, you can contact me. I have the reports. And the reason nothing was done, I would sure like to know, but I do know the State Board of Accounts, because I talked to them about it, has no legal authority to do anything to anybody, so they cannot. And I did forward all this stuff to the Attorney General's office, and I was never even given a response. And I don't know why, okay?
Well, what does that tell you?
But you can read the report, and in the report, it says wastewater utility funds are supposed to be used for utility work only.
Dave, can you comment?
All items that were reported are in the hands of state officials, and the only comments I really have are they didn't show anything that was done improper, incorrect, illegally, or otherwise.
There's nothing nefarious with that. It was all out in the open. It was stated publicly what funds would be used.
And the State Board of Accounts said they should have been used for only utility work, not for the lake. Thank you.
And what became of that?
All right, any more public comment for utility board?
Closing statement, can we just get the documentation, like on the calculations that you guys have done, and just general project updates? I think that is massive.
It's being worked on with the water master plan right now as we speak. When that water master plan is done, we should have a real good idea of what we need.
But there's existing calculations that were done to estimate our water pressure.
Yes.
So that those can be sent to us, just to verify there's nothing wrong or miscalculated?
How do we send out those notices for something like that? I mean, is that something that we deal with Cliff to send out, or?
Let's look at this a little differently. Why can't we put it online and they can go get it?
Okay.
By way of an address, instead of us
That it's
looking
public.
for all of you
Yeah.
and 16,000 other people, putting the data on,
That works. That works. As long as it's continuously updated, with product updates.
well, that's also problematic, because we don't know when updates come. If the engineers work and they add to it, next steps taken, that type of thing.
That's understood, but if
but.
Same phase, say phase one of designing the westbound irrigation system is ongoing. That means there's a mismanagement of funds or a miscalculation of profit, just a mismanagement of resources. And that would be, it's good for us to know.
We can put the project information online, and it can be reviewed on retrieval.
I appreciate it.
Kevin, that lady,
That's a cliff item, though, and.
Yeah, that is a cliff
He'll
item.
need to
and
help
he's
already.
listening.
Oh, there he is.
Whatever you want, we'll do.
Okay.
Thanks, Cliff.
He's our IT guy.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Margaret Merritt, and
Please come to the podium. We can, that way they can hear, and then anybody that's doing the minutes from the meeting, they can hear it clear.
do you need my address again?
Yes, please.
Okay, Margaret Merritt, 11727 West 124th Place. And I guess if all this or maybe it wasn't overdevelopment, but our tax base in Cedar Lake has had to grow considerably. So, are we gonna have a shortfall when these corrections or, like she said, water's kind of, something you assume you're gonna get when you move to a town. Have you gotten as far enough in the calculations to see if this is going to be, another burden put on us, or because there's so many new people that cause this problem, isn't that so much new tax money brought in to the town of Cedar Lake? And have you gotten that far in the calculations to see, can we cover our bases here?
Well,
I would think that Sue probably answered that one best,
Because utilities pay for utilities,
Yeah.
taxes pay for services. Utilities pay for utilities. So the tax base, that pays for fire, police, for the operation of the community.
Okay,
It's actually
so firemen are using the water and except, so there's a lot of.
Schools are the majority of it.
Yeah.
Yes, so there's a lot of intertwined, and it would just seem to me that with all this new homes coming in, that you guys might have been flush, but I'm guessing not.
I think what she's trying to explain to you there is that the utility is one pocket of money, and the other taxpayers' money is another pot, and you can't mix them together.
Can't mix them.
No.
So
Schools
the
have
only
the same
alternative
problem.
would be to raise our water rates.
And we can't do that without going
Through the
before
regulatory.
the Indiana Regulatory Commission.
And so do you have an idea where the money's gonna come for these improvements?
We're going to have to work with our financial advisor, and I'll go to Sue for an answer on that.
What it will depend on is what the size of the project is, and if any more of our existing debt rolls off in the water utility per se, so that we have additional capacity without raising rates. Because I will tell you, since you're a regulated utility, we're looking at a minimum of a 10-month project in front of the regulatory body to get rates increased. Because not only does your council, your utility board say we need to raise rates, we don't have the right to do that because we're regulated by downstate, so we have to go to the IRC and file a case in front of them. Not only, so if we're going to finance all of the new improvements, we have to ask for permission to issue that debt. We have to have our rates that show that it sufficiently can cover our operations in addition to the debt. And then we have to go out and decide either open market debt issuance, or if we can go through the process of the state revolving fund, which hopefully will result in a subsidized interest rate to us. Keep in mind that our median household income is quite high, so a lot of the times we don't qualify for the subsidized interest rate. We just get to use the credit rating of the state of Indiana by going through the state revolving fund. But it all depends on the cost of the project that we're going to look at.
So in the meantime, we could possibly see the west side get worse before it's gonna get better.
Well, there's a building moratorium right now, so it can't get too much worse.
Well, could
And the east
you
and
allow
west-
like one shower a week?
The east and west side pays the same rate now, because the Indiana Regulatory Commission, required that, correct, Sue?
That was, when we first started into the water utility business back in 2009, that was the goal that they wanted us to achieve, was that we bought the old Utilities Inc. utility, and we bought the old Robin's Nest company. So therefore, they wanted those two rates together, which we finally accomplished. Well, we started the process in 2019, and we finally started the rates in 2022.
Well.
And it is quite expensive to go down there, because you also have, the Office of the Utility Consumer Counselor, which intervenes in every rate case in front of the IURC, which we have to answer all their questions and deal with them too.
And we paid about 6 figures the last time we went down, right?
It was over $500,000.
So we've done this before.
Yeah, and that $500,000 comes from our ratepayers here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's only 3 municipalities, I believe, that are under the Indiana Regulatory Commission right now. Most,
Well, maybe in Lake County, but there are others throughout the state, but not as many, because they have opted out of the jurisdiction because they feel that it is a duplicate layer of regulation, because they elect their town councils, their city councils, and why does downstate get to trump their city council?
and take that money from us.
Well, and that's part of it, but that's, the double-edged sword, but there are a lot of municipal
But
utilities
on the
that
flip
are not in
side,
jurisdiction.
on the
I'm
flip
sorry.
side, our town council failed, so maybe it's best to have the regulatory. Because here we are, and we knew all this development, and, it's just a shame for the town, really is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, second call, public comment. Third call. Anybody online?
Nope.
All right, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 8:14 PM. Next meeting, Tuesday, April 15th. We're gonna take a quick break, probably 5 minutes before, the town council.
Council meeting to order for March 18th, 2025. Little past 7 o'clock, but we're going to call it to order. We're going to start with a pledge of allegiance and then an opening of prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Pastor. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
And would you state your church and...
Yes, sir. I remember last time I was here, I forgot to do that, so I apologize. My name's Dave Weemhoff, pastor at Faith Church. I got my address here, 6729 West 133rd. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you all for serving, and it's not an easy job that you have. I was just hearing a lot about water, and so thank you for your patience and for your leadership. I appreciate that.
And Jesus used water.
Yes, he changed water into wine, so there you go. Let's pray together. Almighty God, Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day that you've made. We thank you for the opportunity we have to gather together in freedom. We thank you for the beautiful lake in this town. We thank you so much for this community of people who have a voice and who can be heard. We pray a blessing over these leaders that serve on this council. We pray a blessing over the first responders who run into danger. We pray for all the businesses and the schools and the churches that they would work together and honor you. God, we pray for unity, that we would be slow to speak and quick to listen. We pray for grace and understanding in a lot of these issues that mean so much. We pray that this council would seek the best for this town and for its people, and that you would give them wisdom and discernment in all of these conversations. We pray that you would be with this town. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Julie Rivera. Here. Chuck Becker.
Here.
Mary Jo Dixon.
Here.
Richard Teal.
Here.
Greg Parker.
Here.
I am Jennifer Sandberg. Jeff Bundy.
Present.
Ben Eldridge.
Here.
David Austin.
Present.
Okay. We have a presentation from NIPSCO, PRC.
Yeah, do we have anybody here from NIPSCO?
I checked the home.
I kind of looked out front, but I didn't see anybody just minutes ago.
The Legacy Foundation.
There's also a presentation on here for the Legacy Foundation, but
They're out
sure
front.
we exhaust NIPSCO first. No one's here from NIPSCO? Anybody know anything about that?
They were on board as of yesterday, unless they got tired of waiting for us.
Well, that could be. All right,
We're an hour and a half late.
Is there a presentation from the Legacy Foundation?
I did get a text from, Ava, mother. They had a previous commitment, they had to be at 8:30, so that will also have to be postponed.
Okay. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Any public comment on agenda items only? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 1, claims, all town funds, $332,261.04, wastewater operating, $36,698.73, sewer bond, $456,750, water utility, $129,281.55, stormwater utility, $14,197.15, payroll, $408,408.29, February remittances, $221,032.80. Item 2, donations from the fire department, Mary Jo Dixon, $100, Dennis Keithley, $30, police department, Doug Machock, in-kind donation, Bose SoundLink Bluetooth speaker. Irene Roquitas, K-9 donations of $100. Manual journal entries for February 1st, 2025 to February 28th, 2025. Tag day request for Hanover Junior Wildcats football and cheer, raising funds for equipment, May 17th, 2025. Day request, Knights of Columbus annual Tootsie Roll Drive, local handicap, June 7th, 2025. Is there any discussion? Well, Bob, you usually have something.
No, not, I didn't catch anything.
I would like to note that for Tag Day, that they do have to be 18 and older to be on the streets to collect funds. I would like to make that comment.
Do we know that? Is there anybody that can verify that?
It's in the ordinance.
Okay.
I just want a reminder to the youth organizations.
Hopefully that's instructed to everybody that applies for a Tag Day.
We'll make sure that information is passed on to the...
If there's no other questions or comments, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Becker, seconded by Ms. Dixon. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes. Rick Recupero is absent, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance and resolutions. Item number 1, resolution number 1368, Farmers Market 2025 agreement. Mr. Teal, can you read that by its title only?
Yes, a resolution establishing the basis upon which the town of Cedar Lake shall authorize and approve the conduct of a farmers market event for the 2025 calendar year, Cedar Lake Farmers Market season. Engage a farmers market coordinator for same and all matters related thereto.
Okay, Mr. Austin, should we do a second reading of this tonight?
No.
Okay, this is just one reading?
It's just a resolution.
Okay. Okay, so we've had the reading of resolution number 1368 for the farmer's market contract. Does anybody have any discussion on the item?
It's gonna start May 14th, 2025, and end October 22nd.
That's right. There's one thing that should be added on to here though, and that is that we will not be having a farmer's market on July 9th, due to Summerfest still needing to clean up. So that
Actually,
should probably be noted on here.
Yeah, Kelly, that was updated in that.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, we see that.
Okay, sounds good.
When we talked, it wasn't in there, but
Okay.
it's been added, so that clarification has been noted.
Okay. We have those explanations and we've had the reading. Is there a motion?
Motion approved resolution 1368, farmers market for 2025 agreement.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Teal. Okay, roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Item number 2, resolution number 1369, Summerfest 2025 agreement.
I'm there now.
Representing Summerfest?
You want me to read it right now, or first, or?
Yeah, we need to read the resolution for sure, but I was just wondering if anybody wanted to make any comments for Summerfest. I guess this is done, though. Everything is accurate the way it needs to be.
Mr. President, we prepared that document, and it reflects all the changes and amendments and current bringing to 2025, from 2024.
Okay.
It's in good order.
And Summerfest will run from July 3rd through July 6th, and the town complex dates to secure the property June 25th through July 11th.
Okay, Mr. Teal, will you read resolution 1369 by its title only?
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, resolution number 1369, a resolution establishing the basis upon which the town of Cedar Lake shall participate in the year 2025 Cedar Lake Summerfest event and all matters related thereto.
Okay. Is there any questions or discussion on this item? If there is none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 1369, Summerfest 2025 agreement.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Ms. Rivera. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
I'm abstaining.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
And one abstain.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Abstention.
5 in favor, 1 abstention. This isn't normally my role, and I'm struggling anyway, because I got hit in the eye by a socket earlier, and,
Was it a 10 mil?
it was a 14 millimeter.
A little more feet.
Bear with me. Old business, item number 1, ordinance number 1511, second reading, deferred from February 18, 2025, an ordinance amending the job description of the fire department administrative assistant position. Let me catch up here. And we've had a first reading of this already.
Correct.
Mr. Teal, will you give us a reading of ordinance number 1511?
Yes.
Title only.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1511. An ordinance amending town ordinance number 1150 as amended from time to time, being an ordinance establishing job employment description for the employees of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions, including town ordinance number 1064 and all matters related hereto, amending the job description of fire department administrative assistant job position for the town of Cedar Lake Fire Department and all matters related thereto.
Thank you.
Motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 1511.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Ms. Rivera. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. New business. Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement, authorize Nicholas A. Ricardo to sign the 2025-1 Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement and all related contracts.
We'll make a motion to authorize Town Council President Nick Ricardo to sign the 2025 Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement and all related contracts.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Ms. Dixon. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. New business item number 2, Police Department Lexipol Master Service Agreement.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I know this is on your agenda for consideration tonight, but this may be an item that you want to defer and allow your new police chief to take a look at.
Get acclimated with it.
See if that's the path and pattern for policy establishment that he wants to consider.
Okay.
Motion to defer.
Motion to defer by Mr. Carnahan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Rivera. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Let us know what you think about that, Chief.
Well, I'm sure will, thank you.
SCBA brackets quote utilization of donated funds for the installation of 17 SCBA mounting brackets approved by the Board of Safety. Carl, you know what that is?
No, that's Todd.
No, that would be Todd, it's self-contained breathing apparatus.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes, yeah, it's for our air packs mounting in our apparatus.
Okay, so,
You guys have everything in your packet.
Mhm.
Or needs to be approved.
is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Teal, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Item number 4, usage of town hall for elections for Crown Point School Corporation, Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Is there a
Question. What time will they be using, the building from 6 to 6?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
They like to be here at 5 o'clock to get in the building to have.
So we got a town council meeting that night.
That is correct.
We're gonna be
And
running late.
we cannot turn these folks down since we're a governmental agency, so then we have to figure out if we're going to postpone or,
I'd say that's likely.
it is only a,
Referendum,
full corporation referendum.
Yeah.
So, using past histories, they tend to be a very light turnout, which obviously works in the favor of them getting in and out, doing their tabulations and getting out of here. But, I'm sure as many of you know, especially with the new machines, I would think the process would be pretty quick, but there's no way of knowing, and we can't rush them, and we can't,
We at least need to move that meeting back, probably.
Well, or start it at 7 o'clock with redevelopment and then go directly into town council
Yeah.
immediately after?
Yeah, because I believe next month, since it is May, we're gonna need, like you said earlier, Dave, with the, annual report for TIF.
Yeah, those filings are important.
Yeah,
Polls have
so
to
it
be-
can't be,
Even for a referendum, the polls have to be open till 6 o'clock.
I understand that, even,
I
how,
don't think they'd be out.
how does that work though, as far as how late we can start the RDC meeting after? Like if it went till 6, how, what's their time frame? Does
Well,
RDC start at
if
7?
if we let them go till, don't start our meeting till 7 and let that be redevelopment and don't, put a time on there.
Just
for
immediately following?
Immediately
Yeah.
following the town, the
They should be out
redevelopment
in an
commission.
Yeah,
They should be out in an hour.
yeah,
Make those adjustments then.
okay.
I had talked to Michelle, and she thought that half an hour to 45 minutes would be ample, but again, she throws out the caveat without any kind of computer glitch, any kind of technology glitch, any kind of reporting that may go on throughout the course of the day. If that causes any kind of problems, not saying that they do happen, but that may extend their time and need to be here.
Now, will the town be closed, the town hall?
We weren't planning on closing town hall.
Okay.
Because it's a special election. This, the only thing happening
like
is the school referendum.
Okay.
I believe she said at most they'll have 2 voting stations or boxes,
There's 4 precincts that vote here.
but it doesn't go by precincts
It's just-
because it's a government.
Okay,
because
I was
it's-
just trying to think of the, I mean,
It's
just the
just
volume of
Center Township.
people.
I
I'm just letting you know the
understand.
volume of people.
Right, I understand.
It would just be, precinct 6, 'cause 1 and 4 is at,
Church.
Father John's.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and anybody that lives on the east side, go out and, vote that day, from 6 in the morning till 6 at night.
I didn't think of that, yeah, it's only for east side, like.
Yes.
Center Township, right.
So you have 1 precinct here and 2 precincts over there at St. Michael's.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the usage of the town hall on May 6th?
So
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, I'll take Mr. Becker for a second. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Teel,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item number 5, Crow LLP Municipal Advisor Agreement.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
there's a form of contract in your packet that's circulated. It's from Tim Berry of Crow. Crow is the financial advisor that has been interviewed and reviewed by you folks. He's representative of their firm. I reviewed the contract and it's pro forma.
I looked at it, I just needed to catch up my packet here. I looked at it earlier, and it looks,
It's got a lot of fine print in it, but they're financial advisors.
Like the partner director is $425 to $500 an hour, senior manager $325 to $400, manager $250 to $300, staff, senior staff $175 to $225, and out-of-pocket expense at cost.
okay. Everybody's had a chance to review that. Is there a motion to approve the municipal advisor agreement?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Teel, seconded by Mr. Carnahan. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Teel,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Updates, discussions. Parks and Recreation recommendation to amend ordinance number 1507 and 1491. The Cedar Lake Park Board made a recommendation to amend ordinance 1507 Parks and Recreation Activities Fee and 1491 Parks and Recreation Facilities in their March 6, 2025 Park Board meeting. To include those changes, change 1507 to remove clubhouse, park spaces, and shelter rental nonprofit rates and move to 1491 recreation facilities in Exhibit A. Explanation, this was adopted in January 2025. Changed the discount rate for nonprofit organizations from 50% to 25%. That are registered in Lake County, Indiana, serving Cedar Lake, Indiana residents with a limit of 2 discounts per calendar year because it appears on the exhibit of 1507. It would be best to separate from that ordinance and unify with 1491. I should have had you read this.
Yeah, you're doing double duty.
Yeah. Change 1491 to include employee rate on rental agreement. Explanation, the town was honored a discount of shelter spaces and clubhouse rentals at a $50 rate to its employees and the board of commission members. I have been made aware of this discount was never reflected in previous ordinances, and we should include that rental agreement for the employees' boards. Discount, maybe not the discount rate, should be noted on the facilities form for this ordinance moving forward. Additional verbiage on refunds to reflect tax and convenience fee charges will not be refunded. Addition Kiwanis shelter to the rental agreement in the amount of $100 in anticipation of the new shelter coming into the park system this summer. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, concerns you may have on the above. And that's from our park director, Mindy Ray.
If I may, Mr. Parker, the only issue I have with this is I don't like the cheaper rate for employees and board commission members. I think it should be the same. There's no reason why I think any employees or board members should get a discounted rate over the taxpayers.
Agreed.
Everybody agree with that?
Yes. So then we got a direct date to prepare an ordinance?
May I speak on that topic?
Sure.
My memo. So the park board did have further information on this, and they wanted to leave that discount. We were made aware that a discount was grandfathered in. A process was grandfathered in but the fee schedule was not reflective of, being adopted. So as the park board, they were just trying to clean up the process, so we actually had a fee structure. They left and they wanted to make sure that the recommendation, because it includes all staff and all boards and commissions, was for you to make the best decision about if you wanted to, keep that incorporation of the employee discount, and, if so, then we were going to have to adopt it into a new ordinance, because
So it's not currently there?
It's not there in the fee, and it's never been in a fee schedule, so it's just a process that's always been grandfathered, and we just became aware of that.
Does it need to be cleaned up at all in the verbiage, or?
It's not even a rate structure at this time, but it was being, an honored process over many, many years. So, if you're considering it, that's fine, we have to then get it adopted.
So I guess that would be a question for Dave then. Would that portion of employee rate on rental agreement just be omitted if it's there?
It's not there currently at all.
They just observed it.
It has the honor,
Yeah, it was being taken,
privilege,
yeah, it was a privilege, but it wasn't written in writing.
exception.
And if you want to continue that process, we just wanted to, make that
Okay,
legal
I
on
would
the
say
books.
no. I don't know what everybody else's thought is on that.
I'm a no.
Would that be moving forward, because you do have some rentals that are already paid and on the books for 2025 at that rate structure, and some that have already taken place?
Yeah, I guess we'd have to honor that, wouldn't we, Dave? If it's on the
Moving
books
forward.
already, or?
Again, I'm still struggling with the honored custom.
I am too, I'm sorry.
I had nothing to do with it.
That was a new discovery, when I went to ask questions, that process was handed over, to the Parks Department.
This is going forward,
Like,
you
in
can
a
act
writing
out
or
here.
just word of mouth?
It was discovered when I went to investigate if a board or commission member had the opportunity to rent.
Yeah, and I would
at a
think
discount
that
rate.
moving forward, the answer is no, that no board or commission or town employee should get a discounted rate. My personal opinion, yeah, and my personal opinion also would be if anybody is already on the books for it, I say that stays, just because of that fact, that I would not want to go back on that.
There's a principle of law called detrimental reliance. Those folks who got the benefit of the discount detrimentally relied upon what the fee structure was from staff. So you should honor it.
Okay.
Do we need to take action on this item?
Put it on the public record.
Yeah.
So,
So, Rich,
was that a motion?
Yes.
I'll second it.
What was the motion?
That no employees, or board or commission members from the town get a discounted rate, but the ones that are on the books as of now, for any rentals, we would honor that.
And then
You concur with that?
yes, and then I second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Chuck Becker.
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon.
Yes.
Richard Teal.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Before you go to reports, usually we have
I'm sorry.
written communication, and usually the town manager would address Christopher B. Burke's report. Oh, it's at the end? Oh, it switched it.
Actually, we still have more action on that ordinance update from the memo to take,
okay,
is
I see.
instructing Mr. Austin to move forward with the addition of Kiwanis Shelter to the permit and publicly advertising that, separating those two ordinances, and we do need to add the gazebo since the new gazebo is in construction now. So, those were, if you guys would like to instruct him, since that was,
So is there a need for a new ordinance, or can you just amend the ordinance?
amending that ordinance,
Yeah,
correct.
it'd be an amendment. I don't have it, so I can't.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I just want to make sure we're
Yeah.
clear on what action we're asking you to do.
There's legislation required.
So you want ordinance 1507 amended?
1507 to amend, to separate, the shelter rates from Exhibit A, that should be going on to 1491 and only there. Those two ordinances actually merged with the shelters being placed on Exhibit A. So of Exhibit A of 1507, Ordinance 1507. That's the first change. Ordinance 1491 was to change the verbiage about the refunds of being less tax and convenience fees. The addition of the Kiwanis shelter at a $100 rental rate, which is the same rate as the other shelters in the park system, once that's constructed. And while in Rome, we are just cleaning this up. And now that we know that we are moving forward with the gazebo on town grounds, to add that to the permit as well, when that would be 1491. Those would be the recommendations at this time from the park board.
Got all that, Dave?
And I can correspond with his office as well with those.
I know Mindy's gonna send the stuff.
We don't necessarily action on the
I did
rest of
email
it.
you on it.
Need action on the rest of that. Can I move on?
Thank you. You needed some exercise?
Okay.
Yeah, I always try to.
Reports, town council. Any town council members have any reports? I was counting on you.
I have something also when he's
The
done.
Cedar Lake Chamber of Commerce, with the leadership of board member Kevin Toth, worked with the DNR to place 140 of the chamber Christmas trees in the lake in 10-foot deep water. And that was done with chamber members today and the DNR, correct?
Yes.
Trying to make your favorite fishing spot, aren't you? Trying to create a honey hole, aren't you?
We're not telling anybody where we're at.
All right,
Is
well,
that it, Bob?
that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Any other town council reports?
Yeah, last Thursday, I'd just like to add, there was a community partners meeting over at the school administrative building. Mary Jo and myself were there for council. Jeff was there, Chief Grushka, Chief Wilkening, from the town. I just wanted to point out that, Mr. O'Donnell, he's been here for 7 years and pointed out that they've received just over $900,000 worth of grants for the schools, and I just wanted to point that out on, amazing news, I think.
I think it's also amazing all the work it takes to protect our kids. Street department was there, fire, police.
Mhm.
They go above and beyond to protect our children. We are very fortunate to have that team available to us.
And I'll plug my brother Lynn, who was the first security guard at Hanover High School. He's retired now, and he told me he only got paid $5 an hour.
That was before the...
Nobody would mess with him, nobody.
He's 6'8".
Nobody.
I just want...
Lynn would jump on fire trucks and just go on calls, we couldn't stop it.
And your dad told me that he carried fire extinguishers in his squad car, and if he got there to the fire before your dad got there, he was trying to spray the fire out.
He was.
I just want to say thank you to Public Works, everything that you guys have cleaned up so far, and the wood chipper's been going, and the area that I drove through this weekend, and the Cook neighborhood, and across by Holy Name. It was just, I don't know how you guys cleaned up so much of it already. I mean, it was just everywhere.
It was everywhere in there.
Great job.
I mean, I guess I appreciate the credit, but there was a lot of people hired tree services also, so, I mean, we did do a lot in there, but there was a lot of other extracurricular stuff going on.
And a lot of homeowners out there working.
That place was a
that
disaster,
weekend.
but there was a lot of stuff
a
going
mess.
on.
I went out there Saturday, and I thanked all the poll workers out there for being out there trying to help restore the power to the neighborhood. I also toured it again tonight, and it still looks bad out there.
I'm thankful there was no injuries and no loss.
Thank God.
Thank God for that.
Any other town council reports? Town attorney,
No report.
clerk treasurer?
Jen sent out reports on Friday, and she'll be back in office this Friday if any questions come up.
Town managers,
I have nothing other than, for those of you that, have not heard the word, our incoming, town manager, Ben Eldridge, is with us tonight. Ben resides in, well, more formally resides in Goshen, and, he'll be taking over the reins here, very soon.
welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you. Anything to say?
Yeah, it's been, there's a lot to do, and I'm excited to get in on it, so, everything, all things are good.
Okay.
I want to thank you for standing in. Thank you.
Director of Operations.
It's been a long night. We did get started on the gazebo finally over here on the other side of town grounds. The concrete is poured, they'll be power washing and sealing it tomorrow, and then construction will begin. So that thing should be wrapped up here before it gets warm enough to use it, I would hope. So, it's good to see it moving forward.
Good.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Police Department.
I'll make it really quick. Just as our activity reports for the month of February, we had 751 calls for service. We had 375 traffic stops. We had, of those traffic stops, 337 of them were warnings, and citations were issued in 122 of those. Incident reports, we had 366. We had 20 arrests for that month, and of those 20 arrests, there were 23 offenses charged in that. And for our ordinances, for the month of February, we had 24 warnings, and we had 40 citations issued. That's our report. It's been a great 2 days so far.
Thank you. Welcome aboard for you as well.
Thank you.
Let's give him a round of applause, too.
I missed my opportunity to say chiefs.
Well, he didn't fire me yet, so that's a good thing.
He's not going to.
Carl's been great.
Fire Department.
February incidents, 162, 80% EMS, 16% fire, 4% other, like PI crashes, which would be 139 calls in the town, 15 unincorporated, and 8 mutual aid calls. We responded to, I don't know the exact number the night of the tornado, but we were out all night long from 1 o'clock until I got home finally at 5 o'clock. I did have the pleasure of watching a trampoline fly across the front of my truck and wrap around a town pole, and just missed that fun thing. So, it was a very busy night, and again, I would like to thank the PD units that helped us, the VIPs that came out, and also the volunteers that came out from the fire department as well, and my staff that, additional personnel that came in to help cover calls because we were just running our butts off.
And Public Works.
Public Works, I was getting, the Public Works did a phenomenal job. We kept in communication with them direct. We had a lot of roads that were completely shut down. They weren't passable. Parrish Avenue by John Foreman's house, you could not go north of there. So there was roads that needed to be opened up immediately because there was no way of getting on the other side. So, Team Cedar Lake, PWPD, and VIPs, everybody rocked.
And it was an F1 that I heard.
F1, I met with the National Weather Service the next morning that was out here, 2 ladies that were here, and EF1 and EF0, different parts, was the estimate at that point in time, and then they confirmed it later that night. The tornado dropped out of the sky and went right back up.
80-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Scary.
Yeah, nobody heard. We did have a person who was trapped temporarily in his house. It kind of collapsed on him, but he was able to get out before we got there. So it was, during the day, it looks a lot worse than you see it at night. It was pretty bad, so. Our incidents by the time of week, our Thursdays continue to be the busiest day, and we are to the point now where about 37% of the time we're running multiple calls at a time. And that's my report.
Thank you. I think Parks is next.
Hi there. A few things from the Parks Department. We have the newly formed Park Foundation is hosting a bingo at the clubhouse building on March 24th. It's open to all. This bingo will happen at 12 p.m. at the clubhouse, and it will be free to attend. So please stop on in and meet the Park Foundation members, and the Parks team will be there as helping sponsor the event. The Community Garden call-out meeting is coming up March 27th, so if anybody has a green thumb or interested in possibly winning a raffled-off plant, we have a Community Garden call-out meeting for anybody who's interested in volunteering with us in the gardening capacity, March 27th at 5 p.m. at the clubhouse. And then we're also working on the Teen Advisory call-out meeting. We're gathering a group of teens. We've kind of lowered the limit to 12 through 17, just to try to capture more kids to help the Parks Department create programming and events that are more teen-friendly. So if we have an advisory committee, we could do the things that they would like to do. So that our call-out meeting is going to be on March 31st at 5 p.m. And everything that I'm listing is on the town website that you can go through the Parks Department page and log in and RSVP for any of these. And that's the most up-to-date items that are happening, along with additional bingos that have been brought forth starting in April for the seniors. So you'll be seeing senior gatherings, and then you'll also be seeing senior bingos moving forward in April. So a lot of great things happening in the department, and some great opportunities that are all listed there on our website, or give us a call or stop by the park office. We're right here across the parking lot.
Question.
Sure.
The rain barrels, are they done?
The rain barrel fundraiser has been completed at this time.
Okay, because as I mentioned before, it would have been good for people to purchase them in case the sprinkler ban goes into effect and have another source of water. How many did you sell?
We sold 0 this year.
Oh, my goodness.
And Mr. Carnahan, you have plugged that so much, I thought you were really going to up the sales this year, but for some reason, we just didn't get that opportunity.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Nice one, Bob. You gotta do it like you did the census.
Yeah, form a committee.
That's right, the census. We'll be selling tons of them things.
Well, we did good in the 2000 census. We got 80% of the town to fill out the census form. But in 2010, we only got 76.4% of the people, and that means that a huge number of people are causing us to lose money. In 2000, Jill Murr estimated that we lost $20 million over a 10-year period. We made 25,000 placemats and put them in the restaurants, and COVID hit, and they got thrown out. But I bring a community of all kinds of people together, and we work very hard, and we tried our best.
That's all you can do. Written communication. Building department report. Rich, can you help me with that?
Jeff could probably help you with
Well,
it.
Tim could probably help me with it.
He probably doesn't have it in front of him right now, do you, Tim?
I do not.
You do not?
I just closed this computer.
Yeah, basically, February 2025, residential new construction permits was 1, new construction permit 1. Let's see, new residential construction value, $350,000, total value, $350,000. Let's see, I'm trying to read that. New construction permits,
For the year.
total new construction permits, was 7. Let's see, totaling $1,965,000. That's pretty much it for that report.
Okay. Christopher B. Burke report.
I have the Christopher B. Burke report that was given to us, and for most of council members, it's in your packet. There are basically two programs here that I think are noteworthy to update the population or the citizenry about. It's Community Crossing Grant number 2024-2 for the Shades Phase 2 project that was awarded to Rice Riley Construction at our February 18th Town Council meeting. Contracts and supporting documents were submitted to INDOT prior to the CCMG deadline to procure funds totaling $770,092.09. CVEL, our engineer, is currently compiling utility coordination for this project and awaiting NIPSCO to complete a gas main relocation within the project limits. We hope to get this project started and off the ground by the 1st of May, late April preferred. Secondly, our funding for 2 Town Street Committee projects were selected and awarded. The first being Shades AA/AB, which was, AA was the Merton Drive, Hilltop area off of North Lake Shore Drive on the northeast side of town. The streets affected will be West 129th Place, West 129th Lane, West 130th Avenue, 9th Street, Fulton, Morris, and Merton Drive. Our project scope includes a mix of 2-inch HMA overlay, mill overlay, pavement patch, swale restoration, etc. Cost estimate for that particular part of the program, $321,900, or approximately $42,000 per mile. Shades B was the area behind the East Side Shopping Center, which includes West 130th Place, West 131st Avenue, West 134th Place, Morris Street, West 132nd Avenue, 132nd Place, and West 132nd Lane. Project scope is similar to the other, 2 inches of HMA overlay with mill, carbon gutter on Morris Street, sewer upgrades, swale restoration, etc. That one came in at an estimated cost of $364,600. And then lastly, just a notation again about our biannual CDBG money that was awarded to us for this calendar year. In January, we were told our CDBG allotment for 2025 would be $93,955, and we have until May 5th to choose a site to move forward with that. That's the application deadline. And in the past, we have used those funds for ADA-related and sidewalk curb cut-related projects. So in the next few weeks, we really ought to work on identifying where we'd like to move forward with that funding.
Well, as I had stated, that Tim Brown said we can also use that for sidewalks, so I think Utopia subdivision really needs to be looked at. Those sidewalks are deplorable in that
I did
subdivision,
drive out there, and there's a lot of heaving going on.
especially on Ivy Street.
The curbs are in pretty decent shape, but boy, the sidewalks need a lot of work, and they're not ADA compliant,
No.
so matting and curb cuts and grade reductions and things like that. My feeling is that the scope of the work is probably more than the $90,000 funding we're going to get, but I guess until we get it engineered and get an idea, I don't know if it's something that can be phased. But maybe something else.
Do one side, then do the other side later.
Maybe just take a look at what needs it and just do that. Pick it apart.
Okay.
Rather than tear them all out, replace them all.
Okay. Maybe that would be a good co-project for Ben and I to do, next upcoming weeks, and get out there and kind of, perform an inventory and scope and, maybe grading in a tough way so that we can, figure out where to start first.
That's a good idea. You guys, a little time to, give him some time to get to know the community and you to get to know him.
I suppose so.
Good stuff.
Mr. Parker, I skipped a page on the building report. So that was just the new construction on residential. There was also another page. Residential permits totaling 35, commercial permits 1, church permits 1, open space permits 2, totaling 39.
Well, working around a moratorium, I guess that isn't terrible. All right, is there any public comment?
I just have one, I'd like to know, when was the last
Ms.
cost
Kerr,
of living rate?
can you give me your name and address for the record, please?
Carol Kerr, 9900 West 129th Place. I'd like to know, when was the last cost of living rate for the town council, the town attorney, the clerk treasurer, the town managers, both of them, the director of operations, Cousin Kubiak, the police department.
Here, in attendance.
Both police department people here, the fire department chief, and the parks department director, and maybe even their assistant, because we know, all of you, though we complain, and I'm a big complainer, work more hours than you're billed for, more hours than you put in. I'm sure all of you, you put in an 8-hour shift or a 5-hour shift. If you're here today, you're doing work at home besides your regular job. So when was your last cost of living raise, and who decides when you get one, because you need one? Who does it?
We took all the raises, instead of giving any of the department heads or the council any raises in 2025, we took that money and we gave it to the police and fire.
You gave it to the police and fire? Did the chiefs and the...
No, just the employees, because we're having a hard time keeping employees. And we want to keep them, we don't want to lose them.
Well, can't you do both?
We needed all that money to go to them to retain them.
Well, now that our taxes went up, couldn't you give all of them?
That would be next year's budget.
Pardon?
That would be next year's budget. We operate on a 12-month budget.
Oh. So you gave them to people to keep, and maybe they didn't even stay?
Oh, they're staying.
They're here.
Oh, they stayed?
The fire department, you're getting people to come now, right?
And we got people that left and want to come back.
Yeah.
In fact,
because
I have one more that left here just recently, would like to come back, and there's a position open for him, and hopefully the council will approve that.
Well, will you keep it in mind for the next time that you can give a raise?
Next year.
Next year, like January 1st, or?
We will work on it during this year.
Pardon?
We'll work on it this year
Oh, okay.
to prepare for next year.
Okay, but then, don't you think everyone should,
We have to look at money. Money is tight.
yeah, but you get more of our tax money now that our taxes went up?
We don't get all that tax money
for the town.
Well, you get some of it.
Yeah. The schools, the libraries.
Well, you're gonna lose some money on the water department when we're not sprinkling our lawns.
No, that doesn't go into there. That's a separate entity.
Okay, well, the water department will lose, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? You don't have to apologize.
Kevin Toll, 9725B, West 129th Place. I just wanted to make a few comments on some ongoing discussion of what to do going forward. We talked about it last meeting about the public safety services and staffing the second location. We heard some passionate comments about how a town fire department can provide these services better than a private service, and how they don't charge for refusals or lift assist, and how their rates are lower than what a private for-profit would charge. I would first say that I have no doubt that the town provides first-rate services, but I will also say that I worked for 30 years alongside private services with the Chicago Fire Department, and can say that in my experiences, these folks did a great job too. In fact, one of those medics I worked with in East Chicago later came out here and was the head of your EMS. Another one is now the chief in St. John. And I would bet that many of those who now work for fire and EMS in many of our cities and towns worked for a private service at some point or part-time. We were told over and over at the last meeting from Mr. Holste and Mr. Khanna how the town does not charge as much as a private for services, or how the town does not charge for services for refusals or lift assists. These are great talking points, but my question to both of them is, who does pay? Someone pays for these services, and that is at the heart of the very problem. Cities and towns only have so much revenue available in their budget, so who pays, or where does the money come from to expand services? The answer is we all pay through our taxes and what the town budget can afford. Every time that ambulance answers a call, there are costs associated with it. Even on a refusal, the town does not charge for, someone paid for it. Someone paid for those medics to show up, someone paid for that ambulance, the equipment, the station where they work, the gas, the insurance, and even the training hours. The town, just like a private service, charges for these services and gets reimbursements from Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance to offset some of the costs of these services and to bolster the town budget. Town budgets that don't have enough funds available to cover the cost. Yes, some of these charges are lower and some are forgiven by the town, but someone still has to pay. So the question is, how do you fund these services? Maybe by raising the town's fee schedule for these services, maybe by charging for refusals and lift assists, maybe by running it more as a business. Something has to be done to find a funding source for the town to be able to expand these services. The facts are, budgets only have so much money, and you cannot just increase taxes when you want, or when you run out of money. You can only shift money from other town departments. Someone tell me, which services should we cut? The problem is not a local problem, but a national issue. Cities and towns everywhere are struggling with ways to fund public safety, and our state legislators are not helping. But on the local level, we do not help either. When will our local politicians realize the only solution is to consolidate? It's time to move away from the fiefdoms and the local control of the past and to look at the big picture. Equipment costs are skyrocketing, a ladder truck is topping $2 million, a fire engine's $1 million, an ambulance $400,000, and all costs are ever increasing. It's insane to expect each community to be able to fund all this. It's time to look at fire and EMS in many communities as being a separate entity run by the fire department, but allowing for folks to be a paramedic or an EMT, not to have a firefighter, and likewise, or someone to be a firefighter and not to be a paramedic. Sorry, that didn't come out very well. There are plenty of folks who are great at the medical side but don't want to be a firefighter, or because of their age can't become a firefighter. So we can't hire them. I also know many in the fire service who are great firefighters but would rather not be a paramedic. It's time to look at solutions. It's time all the communities come together and try to fix this problem. It's time that people in our communities understand that all that is involved in providing these services, and that it is not only fixed by people posting anonymously on Facebook or by people demanding we hire more public safety at one of your meetings. No matter how passionate people are about having more services, there is no more money available in the budget. It's time to have some open, honest, and civil discussions to educate and inform the public how providing public services work everywhere. And I just think that we miss that sometimes, folks, that people do not understand how the town budgets work, and that there is just not money to pull out of thin air. We just cannot raise taxes. And things have to be looked at in perspective, and I think we all have to work toward trying to find some solutions to these problems. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Can I make one comment?
You got a public comment here first.
I'm sorry.
Right after this gentleman, Chief. Need your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is James Kaporis. I live at 14316 Clover Avenue, Rose Garden Estates. Lennar is our developer, and we have several concerns before his bond is released. Streets, he put the final lift last year. Streets are cracking already. It's going to be your responsibility when he turns it over. Sidewalks are in bad shape. I'm in the attached villas. Beyond our backyard, we have a berm. The berm has been, it's too steep. There's erosion. I've been working with Lennar for 3 years. They put the berm in 21. I had the head of land development from Lennar out in 23, promised to do things, nothing got done. I have photos that I could share with you.
Chuck, when does the guy from Lennar, will he be there tomorrow night?
I'm gonna pass
Or the
some
next, or
this way,
the first
some
one?
this
or-
way.
He's supposed to be there.
Shows
Mr. Becker?
the bare, I mean, there's bare spots, there's more dirt than there is grass.
Could you come tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, because Lennar reports to us once a month? And maybe you could air your views and he could hear them.
I can certainly be here.
Mr. McSherry will be here. We had one other resident over there do that.
This is poor drainage in the back too. So if I can get those photos back and we'll bring them to tomorrow night.
Planning Commission.
The Planning Commission?
It's 7.
7? Okay.
He should be here, or either on Zoom or in the room.
You need, remind Monica to
All right,
contact
thank you.
him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure he's here tomorrow night, 'cause he
Oh,
was here
for your
last
first
planning commission.
question though, nothing is going to get released on their bond until their punch list is completely done. Now, that doesn't cover individual residences, but the stuff in the subdivision, the sidewalks, the streets, and things of that nature will be repaired before any bond is released. And we are monitoring that.
And we're only taking care of phase 1 items first, because we don't wanna jump to phase 2 until we get all phase 1 completed. Correct, Tim?
Correct, and once their performance bonds are released, once they make it through this checklist, all of that, they are still on the hook for all of those improvements for 3 more years, and then another inspection will be done before it's turned over to the town.
Last summer,
So they got a ways to go.
I came here and I requested the punch list for Lennar before their bond would be released. What I received was, the engineering report, which was mostly sanitation and sewer. I was looking for, you're expecting Lennar to do this, and this, whatever requirements the town has put on them. It's not what I've received.
Do you have a list of that, Tim?
Yeah, that was their initial punch list. Their bonds have not been released.
Okay.
So it's still, we still haven't got that first 150 items that they supposedly have them addressed now, but it's far from being done.
It's as ridiculous as each entrance has a monument that says Rose Garden Estates, and there's like a median at the entrance. The monument is lit, the island is lit, the west entrance, I notified them January 27th that the power was out. The holiday lights were fine, must be when they took those down, something happened. They're still not addressed, and I've gotten 3 different answers from the management company working with Lennar. 7 weeks to get...
Well, this guy that'll be here hopefully tomorrow, he seems to be moving pretty good for us, and he's the first guy we've really dealt with.
And his name is what?
Tom McSherry.
Made 3 phone calls to him. He's the customer service rep. Not one return call.
If I could add to that, I did speak with the woman that spoke at the last meeting. They were trying to get a meeting together that Tom suggested with a few of the residents. That was actually gonna happen last Friday. Monica Horta did have the room reserved here, and then early Friday around noon, I received a call from the resident that she was told that he misspoke, was not gonna offer the meeting to air out their differences. They were gonna handle the issues with the residents individually. And that was last Friday, what I was told from the resident.
They handle them by ignoring them.
So, they were told that he misspoke and should have never offered the meeting.
You gonna be here tomorrow night?
I'm here for unsafe, so, yeah.
That's good, we'll ask him about that.
Now, they will be attending, residents from Rose Garden, because if they weren't gonna get in, the meeting to just discuss things, that they will be attending the plan commission meetings to voice their concerns.
That'll work. Is there any other public comment?
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
Based upon what Kevin mentioned about the costs and everything and dealing with future and trying to staff the departments and the apparatus, stuff like that, just for the history lesson that I'm not sure that everybody knows, we did try to put a fire territory together 3 different times. Our council supported it every single time. The township shot it down once, when we tried to merge with it, when we have different people with the township now. We tried one with Sherrville, Cedar Lake, St. John, and Hanover Township.
Lake Hills.
And, Lake Hills, St. John Township. And then we tried one with Crown Point, Center Township, Winfield, Cedar Lake, and Hanover Township, and it always fell in a political arena somewhere, and it didn't get supported. I think that at some point in time, the discussion again with the township to form a territory to get it started would be the easiest thing to do, to at least get a fire territory started to help offset costs. And then I know Kevin was interested in trying to include other communities, but it appears that they're not interested. But what has happened in other fire territories, once you get a territory started, other areas around the territory become interested in your territory, so then you can add different communities and consolidate services. This might be a good time, if you're going to consider privatization of anything, is to maybe look at just merging again with the town and the township. And it's just a thought. I know that our township trustee is very willing to explore fire territories, and I think maybe on a smaller scale. And based upon that, we have neighbors to the south that are struggling big time with providing fire protections.
And that's a shame.
And maybe getting some trustees involved there. We found out the other day that Schneider is literally putting us on their first response plan for a tanker because they have nobody. And Lowell is getting beat up so bad by the southern departments that, and they don't have the amount of people they need. They're trying to add full-time or part-time people. So a consolidation talk again might be something that we should at least sit down with our neighbors and discuss. And if we could get something going with at least our town and our township, then maybe
that's the answer.
Maybe it'll catch fire.
In my view, that's the answer if we can ever get past all the resistance.
Well, and that's part of it. And Kevin is spot on when he's talking about the fiefdoms. You got, chiefs that don't want to get involved in that. I've been a big supporter of the territory from day one. It's what's best for the community, and it's what's best for the department itself, in being able to provide services and growing. So I think we should do that. I also have proposed to use a building paramedic on each shift. You guys all received the paperwork on that. I'm looking for some feedback on that because we're at the point now where we'll be able to, because we have 5 on a shift, we'll be able to use that paramedic that's going to stay out on structure fires, bad fires anyways. We don't have to commit a certified firefighter, paramedic, or EMT on the outside of the fire anymore. We can open up our pool too. So that's something I'm discussing with the Board of Safety as well. So just wanted to throw out a little bit of history with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? No other public comment? Third call for public comment. Seeing none?
Online?
Oh, is there anything on that? I'm sorry.
Nope,
None? No
None.
hands raised?
none.
Seeing none, we're adjourned.